This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, August 30th, 2006, and this is episode number 146 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg from MGMstudios.org. On the show today is Mike Scopa of MousePlanet.com. Welcome, Mike.
Please put loose items in the pouch in front of you and securely buckle seatbelts. Time travel commencing in T-minus 10 seconds and counting.
I'm scared now. I'm not even on the ride. I hate dinosaur. And we also have Mike Newell of Studio Central Radio as well as Mouse World Radio. Welcome, Mike.
Howdy ho, Matt.
Plug.
StudioCentralRadio.com.
And it's Wednesday. We're answering your listener questions. So we'll start off with one from Jennifer Sykes from Crestview, Florida, who writes, "Hi, love the show. I listen to every one. I have a question about Florida resident annual passes. I currently live in Florida due to my husband being stationed at Eglin Air Force Base, and I have a Florida resident annual pass. My pass expires in December, and we are going to be moving to a new duty station outside of Florida in June. If I renew in December while I am still living in Florida, what happens when I move in June? Is this pass still valid for the entire year?"
I don't think there's a problem there. I think it only counts at the time of issue, and I don't recall if at any time during the 365 days if they will ever ask for an address or a verification of where you are. So once you are a Florida resident at the time of an issue or a renewal, I don't think there's a problem after that.
Yeah, I wouldn't think they don't check up on you or send people to your house, you know.
No.
Our next email is from Barb Novak of Manitoba, Canada. She wrote that, not me. I know you hear this every episode, but I really love your podcast. You have done podcasts about various transportation options around Walt Disney World. Recently on the internet, I've come across the Lynx bus system, but haven't had a chance to personally check it out. Do you know how reliable and convenient this is? I understand that you can use it to travel from the Ticket and Transportation Center to Universal, SeaWorld, outlet malls, etc. Can you give me your opinion on this? Many people who live in rural areas up here are nervous to drive in a large city, so renting a car isn't an option, and taxis and town cars can get expensive. Remember, rural prairie people here have to drive an hour to find a street light. Well, Barb, first let me explain that the Lynx bus system, for those who don't know, is Orlando's municipal bus system that they've set up. And it's the cheapest option to get you around. But I don't think it's very convenient because, of course, you have to go to the bus stop, wherever it may be, and then, of course, you're only dropped off at designated bus stops, and I'm sure I don't think that's how bus systems work. The better option, I know you're not a fan of taxis or town cars, so the better option would be Mears, I think. It's going to cost about $10 round trip, going to be cheaper than a taxi or a rental car, but they'll pick you up wherever you'd like, so this could be your hotel, this could be, if you set it up correctly, you could pick you up at one of the parks, and then they can drop you off wherever you'd like as well. The only caveat, of course, is that you have to perhaps be picking up a few other people or dropping off a few other people while you're on the vehicle, but I think that's the better option.
Yeah, it's probably the better option. I think that you're right, though, Matt. I think that if time is a factor, then she's got to think about that. Also, if she's staying at a hotel that offers shuttles to these places, and if they're free, I try to take advantage of that, too.
Yeah, I mean, the Lynx bus system, I mean, it's about $1 or $2, which is its huge advantage, but, I mean, certainly, you know, after long days in the park, the last thing you want to do is start huffing it, you know, to...
Especially at night.
Do the Lynx buses stop at every park?
I didn't look at the exact route. Barb says that it stops at the Ticket and Transportation Center. So I haven't taken it. I've just been...
So if you're coming from MGM, you got to take some sort of transportation there and then take the Lynx. So you're talking a lot of waiting.
A lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would definitely recommend the Mears. I think it's the middle ground, and I think it's a much better option. Our next email is from Josh, who sent us a picture, and I'll post it in the show notes. We're all looking at it right now. And the email is, "Try not to let Scopa drool on it. Thanks." And it's, of course, a picture of Josh wearing his Walt Disney World Today T-shirt alongside Belle.
My goodness.
I'm drooling on the shirt.
That's a drooling noise?
Oh, you drool the way you drool, and I'll drool the way I drool.
It looks like Norway, doesn't it?
No, it looks like Cinderella's Royal Table, maybe.
Why is Belle at Cinderella's Royal Table?
Oh,
Why is Belle at
Iceland,
Norway?
why is
Because
Belle at
that's
Norway? Oh, that's right.
Princess.
Princess Storybook. Yeah, I think you're right.
You think?
That's
Well,
right.
I don't know. I don't know.
Do
Well-
they have that kind of window?
No, I see Aurora. I see Aurora in the back. So, yeah, that was the thing I was looking at, Mike. I was looking at the window. I was looking at the candelabra, the chandeliers.
Yeah,
So,
right.
what's the question?
There is none. He just wants to. He wants to show off. Basically.
Thanks, Josh. See if you get a pin now.
I thought this was a Where in the World is Josh?
I won't even get into the Yankee hat, but
Our next email comes from
Just because they
Nick.
beat the Red Sox 5-0, sweep.
thanks, Mike.
Sweet. Here's the sound of sweet.
Are you a Jets fan, by the way?
Yes, I am, as a matter of fact.
Good luck with that quarterback.
Chad was announced today that he's the starter. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're looking forward to listening to Mike Greenberg
Yeah.
tomorrow morning on that.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Well,
He's
Nick
all
writes
better
to us, who is
Welcome
the
to the
composer
ESPN zone.
Who is the composer of the music that was heard outside of Horizons, and what's its title? Some places say that the theme is the GE theme combined with New Horizons. I know that New Horizons was composed by the Sherman Brothers, and that is most of the music inside of the ride was composed by George Wilkins, but some contributions by Richard Bellis. Mike Newell, I think this is up your alley.
I was under the impression it was George Wilkins, but I could be wrong. There is two places that you might want to check for sure. There's a Yahoo group called the Horizons Tribute. You might want to post on there and ask those guys there. They seem to know everything there is to know about Horizons. The other side I would recommend is the Disney Music Discussion Forum, and there will be a link in the show notes for that. And you could post there. It might have been talked about already. I'm not sure. I have it listed as General Electric as well, but I was under the impression it was George Wilkins. But I could be wrong. It is a nice piece of music, though.
Our next email is from Kathy Geiger of Kennewick, Washington, who writes, I recently purchased an Old Key West Disney Vacation Club merchant membership through resale. My husband is out of the country most of the time for the next few years, and it's very hard to plan when he'll be around. My son is going to college in August. Anyway, I thought I would try out the new Disney Vacation Club resort by myself in January. I went to Disneyland by myself all the times when I lived in Southern California, but never Walt Disney World. Do you have any suggestions for the single traveler? Either entertainment or dining that might be good for a single, or maybe things to avoid as a single traveler. Sorry for the broad range of the question, but I was just curious if you had any insight.
First thing I would say, and I think we've talked about this on previous show, is that Kathy, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you use the Disney transportation because you want to be with crowds all the time when you're alone. Just keep that. That should be the number one priority. Number two. Regarding like if you're eating, if you're going solo, it's up to you as to how your dining habits will be. If you want to spend a lot of time in the parks, then I would suggest doing counter service whenever possible. As far as attractions, again, that's a matter of choice as to how you like to do the attractions. I think doing a solo trip is really kind of neat because you don't have to deal with any other people, so you can actually go wherever you want to go. And usually it's not, okay, honey, where do you want to go today? And mine, I'll go here today. This is where I want to go, and tomorrow this is where you want to go. I mean, not that you would go separately, but the whole idea is that you can do more things when you're a solo traveler. So I would say that what you should do is, number one, make sure you use the transportation. Number two, really plan out what you want to do so that you have an idea as to what your days will be like, and also do the kinds of things that you probably wouldn't do if you were with your husband or anyone else. That is, maybe there's something that you do, some kind of shopping, or maybe you would check on something on in Epcot and World Showcase that you wouldn't normally do with your husband. Sometimes it's really good to do solo trips because you really get to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, my mom's going down in about a week, and she's staying at Old Key West, the DVC. And when she goes to eat, she likes to eat at Olivia's when she's by herself. So that's a nice place to go if you're alone. It's a nice restaurant.
Beer Garden is good too. You sit with a whole bunch of people at Beer Garden.
That's true. If you want to, some people don't like that sort of setting.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, going solo is great because you get to eat, like Mike said, wherever you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to, you're not stepping on anyone else's toes.
Right.
And the best part, of course, is that when you're waiting for attractions and I need a party of one or a party of two or
Oh, yeah.
something,
Good point.
And and you raise that hand every time. And
Yep. Good tip.
even when they don't say anything, I mean, you know, most of the times they're not looking for single riders necessarily in the lines that don't have them, and you can just, you know, ask the cast member, hey, by the way, I'm single rider. Is there any room for me? And
Yeah, sometimes though on Soarin' that could mean that you get the bottom row. Although maybe if it's one, you might be able to get the top row. But if it's two, you probably end up on the second or third row.
Our next email is from Paul Sheary of Downey, California, who writes, hello, everyone. Great show. Love all the information. I live in California. Have not been to Disney World since 1991.
Ooh.
I'm planning a visit in 2007 for 6 people, all adults, and have questions for everyone. We probably will not spend too much time in the Magic Kingdom since we have Disneyland annual passport holders and often go 5 to 8 times a month. First question. When would be a good time to go there from a window of October to December 20th or so?
Well, first off, let me just make a little comment about the Disneyland thing. It's 15 years between trips. There's been quite a few changes to Magic Kingdom, so I would reserve judgment on the kind of reception they will have for Magic Kingdom. So after saying that, I would say that between October, Matt, and what was the last?
December 20th or so.
December 20th.
Mid-20th.
Okay.
Mid-December.
Okay. I think that if they're going for one trip and they've never been down there for the Christmas holidays, then you they definitely should consider that first or second week in December, because that is when all the holiday things are going on. It's not too crowded. People are still doing their Christmas shopping. The week of Mouse Fest may be a little more crowded than the week after Mouse Fest. But I think that if that is something that they've never done before, I think going that first or second week in December is a great time to go. Now, if they are interested in food and wine and the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, then they should think about sometime in probably early October, because once you get past mid-October, the crowds kind of get a little bit heavier. There's a golf tournament down there. There's a whole bunch of things going on in late October. So I'd say the first 2 weeks in October or the first 2 weeks in December would be the two that I would think about if you're thinking about either Halloween celebrations or Christmas celebrations. If you don't care about either one and you just care about food and wine, then I would go the first or second week in November.
With some great recommendations. And, of course, I'll recommend the touringplans.com crowd calendar. And as you were saying, those dates, Mike, both of them are really quite good. In fact, the second week in December, it's dead over there. That week of the December 10th to the 17th. Yep. I mean, on Len's calendar, he's got 4s and 5s for most of the week, and it's mostly 4s, so that's a really dead time of the year.
Yep.
And even October. Of course, the only caveat with October is you've got hurricane season still.
Cool. I missed it by 1 week. If I had just had that one more week, I would have been there for Ernesto. Oh
well. Paul, second question is, we were planning a 10-day stay, maybe 7. Would it be better to get an annual pass or tickets?
Well, let's see. Does he say if they're staying on property or not?
He does not say so.
Let's see. 10-day Magic Your Way Park Hopper is about $277, $278. A annual pass is, let's see, it's $462. So there's a difference of about $194 between a 7-day, excuse me, a 7-day Magic Your Way pass with the Park Hopper option and the annual pass. So if you take that $194, and if they apply the annual pass to their room discounts, and they get a nice room discount, and it's at least $19 a night, it's a wash. I'm sure it's going to be something like $40 to maybe $50 a night. So actually, if they buy an annual pass and use it for their room discounts, then that's the way to go.
Right, and they should only get probably one person should get the annual pass, right? Because they don't need everybody to get one.
Exactly, and Len, I think, said that you can book 5 rooms with one annual pass. I am not sure about that. I thought it was 3.
Okay.
So they may want to double check on that.
And Paul also wants to know, are there hotel discounts for government employees? Here's a clue to my job. You can ask the panel to see if they know what I do. I fight the fearless foe. Anybody know what that is?
He's an air marshal.
Nope. Well, that's a good guess. He's a police detective for the LAPD.
Cool.
So, are there any discounts? The Swalfin doesn't have any, right, Mike Newell? I mean, just for police, they have it's just for teachers and.
No, I thought it was government officials.
All right, that is the government officials.
Yeah. Oh, let me check because you caught me off guard. What is it? Swalfin.com.
Of course, the Swalfin, we're referring to the swan and dolphin. Mike Newell in one of the shows referred to it as the Swalfin. And, of course, it's our job to make fun of him forever.
That's right. And you do a great job at it.
Military discounts, airline employee discounts, AAA discounts. Don't know if there are discounts for the Men in Blue.
They used to have discounts for law enforcement after September 11th. I remember that. They were extending those to firefighters and police officers. But I believe that it's been discontinued since. Probably back in 2002 or so.
According to Mary Waring's site, government employees, government/military rate applies to all U.S. and state employees, active military personnel, and Amtrak employees. They can be booked online to Swan and Dolphin by choosing the hotel and selecting the proper rate code from the pull-down menu. So it says here government, federal, and state employees. So it's not restricted to just military.
So he should just bring his, his badge with him or something.
Yeah, or some sort of ID. You have to book it first. So you want to go book it online first and then bring your ID with you.
Our next email is from Becky, who writes, "Hey, I'm listening intently, and I've been trying to call in a few times to a live show. I think you lost me twice in an earlier show. I keep getting a silly message now, though. I was wondering if it would be possible for you to answer a few questions for me. When in the parks, would you recommend mobile phones or walkie-talkies? Which brand would you recommend? And finally, what do you need to set up a pay-as-you-go phone when you get there? Hopefully not residency." Becky is from the United Kingdom. I think walkie-talkies will have the least amount of headache for you, Becky, because you're coming from the United Kingdom. I mean, you can certainly set one up. It doesn't take a whole lot. I mean, you can go to a store like a Walmart or something, buy one. And
they sell some with 12 and 18-mile radius.
You're talking about the walkie-talkies or the mobile phones?
The walkie-talkies.
Oh, I was talking about the
handheld. They're called Family Radio Service, FRS radios here in the States, and they can go as far as 12, maybe 15 miles.
I think it should be less headache because I think there's the mobile phone. There's got to be some sort of registration process.
Yeah, there's got to be a contract. Maybe you're here too. And if she's from the United Kingdom, she winds up going home and never using them again.
Yeah, I mean the walkie-talkies will work over there in the United Kingdom.
Exactly.
Mike Stopa, anything to add?
Yeah, I had some friends who have been over here from the United Kingdom, and they've somehow secured some kind of a mobile phone system that they were able to use their cell phones. But I'm not sure exactly how that worked. They may have very well done something with walkie-talkies too, which I think you want to do something that is not inexpensive, not it's going to cost you a lot of money, but it's also going to be effective, especially if you're going to have several people with you on the trip who are going to be separated and you want to make contact. So I don't know. The only problem with the walkie-talkies is that you cannot call. At least I'm assuming you cannot call Walt Disney World Dining to make a reservation at a restaurant, which you can do with a mobile phone.
Maybe they should check out, if they're coming from the UK, Virgin Mobile. They may have some sort of pay-as-you-go plan that they can take back to the UK and use there.
Good option.
Because we use Virgin Mobile here, too, in the States.
Although Virgin Mobile in the States is just
it's a
copy of Sprint.
Yeah.
Our last email of the day is from Chris from Tampa, Florida, who writes, "Do you and your fellow hosts ever visit Walt Disney World as a group? If you do go, do you all just crush out rides and make fun of Disney noobs? The family debating with a cast member over the validity of the Fast Pass that states not a valid Fast Pass? I imagine it would resemble Wyatt Earp's posse rolling down to Tombstone." It's exactly how it goes. So, minus the 6-shooters, of course. We do go. We went. We actually did our first one in December. All 4 of us. We went to Millionaire, and then Len had to go somewhere. You were there.
He wanted to see Osborne. Did he want to see the Osborne lights? Yeah.
Yeah, he came back later. Yeah. No, but we went. That was the first time all 4 of us have gone together around. But not as. That was the only time. Mouse Fest is really the only time that we're ever all together. Len ditched us at Dismeets, So we weren't, but that's of course not Disney World anyway. So
I've been down there with Lynn about 6 or 7 times. We've haunted, we've terrorized the parks together about half a dozen times.
yeah, and we'll be doing a show about MouseFest and all of that for our listeners who have no clue what it is. Of course, mousefest.org is a good place to start, but we will be doing a show about it as we get a little bit closer. And you know what? That's it for us today. This has been episode 146 of Walt Disney World Today. If you want to find older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at wdwtoday.com. You can also email us at questions@wdwtoday.com. For Leonard Testa, Michael Scopa, Michael Newell, and me, Matthew Hotchberg, we will see you on the next show, studiocentral.com.
You beat me to it.